Okay, so let's just do some more controls, just so we kind of get a feel for different controls Realbasic has. Let's start with the list box, because that's used a lot. So I'll just call this list 1. And now the list box appears like just a big blank thing. So let's double click it and let's go to the open event and let's change some properties. First of all, let's go me.hasHeading equals true. So basically we're giving the list box a heading. Then we're going to go me.columnCount equals, say, 3. And basically all we've done is we've, using code, changed the properties and made the list box have 3 columns, like so. As you can see, that by default they're simply numbered. Keep in mind that the first column is numbered 0, the second number 1, the third numbered 2, and so on. It's basically a zero-based thing. And what you can do now is, here in the open event, we can define actually the names of those columns. So let's go me.heading, and we specify that we're talking about column 0, is equal to name me.heading, and if we go 1 is equal to age, and me.heading 2 is equal to, let's say, weight. And so if we run that, you get something like this. Now, so far this is unpopulated, so we'll have to populate it. So to do that, let's just put this here, and let's create 3 text fields. Click Command D or Control D to simply duplicate them, like so. Let's make a nice little arrangement here. Then we'll just put some labels just to tell our user what each of these 3 items are. So here we'll say name, we'll duplicate it twice, and this one will be age, and this one will be weight. And of course we need to add a button, like so, and we'll give the caption add, and in fact we might as well call it the add button, and we'll call these text fields txt underscore name, txt underscore age. Keep in mind you can't put spaces. Txt underscore weight. And then we'd simply go under the action event. When the button is clicked, we go list1 dot add row, right? Because we are calling the add row method, but the add row method of course affects and belongs to list1. And we can simply put txt underscore name, and let's run the program. But we get an error. And of course, the error I made, if you caught, is that I didn't specify what property specifically in txt name I'm referring to. Add row needs a parameter, and that parameter has to be a string, and therefore txt underscore name won't work. You need txt underscore name dot text. And then let's run it. And let's try out our program. So if we call him Bob and click add, then you see we add Bob and then Fred and then let's say Joe and Ted. But we have a problem. We also want to add, of course, these variables over here, and we're not doing that. And add row only takes one parameter. And therefore, in order to add these other columns, we in fact have to do something a little more complicated. So let's stay with the add row method, but now what we need to do is we actually need to, once a row is added, we need to edit the other columns in that row and add the appropriate text property of the appropriate text field. And the way we do that is we type list1.cell. If you think about it, this actually makes sense. Every cell in a list box is essentially made of two coordinates, a row and a column. And so let's specify which row we're talking about and then which column. Well, the easy thing is we know which column we're talking about. We're going to be talking about column 1 and column 2. If you remember, the first column is already filled in, and that's column 0. And so list1.cell, and you need to specify both the row number and the column. The row number is essentially simply the last row number that we wrote to. In other words, it's the last row number in our list box. And so we can specify that's the one we're referring to by typing list1.lastIndex. And in terms of a column, we know that this is going to be column 1. And we can type is equal to txt underscore, and we're going to choose age.text. And we can do the exact same thing for the other one. List1.cell, and then list1.lastIndex 2 is equal to txt underscore weight.text. And of course, just to make this program more convenient, after the user clicks the button, let's have the text fields cleared. And so we'll go txt underscore name.text is equal to and let's give the program a whirl. Say Bob is 25 years old and he weighs 150 pounds. And when we click add, as you can see, all the variables are added, and of course these text fields are cleared. So now if we go back and re-examine our code, let's go back and take a look at this cell property of the list box. Basically, the cell property refers to a specific cell, and you have to identify which cell. And this part, this row and column, might be a mystery to you, but if you think about it, the column should be fairly obvious. Whoops. As we're simply specifying the integer value of the column that we're referring to. And this other part, this row, should start to make sense to you, because basically all we're saying is that we want to take the last index, or the last row, in our list box, and our list box happens to be named list1. Of course, the reason you have to type list1 is in case, for some bizarre reason, the program may think you're referring to a different list box you have in the program. And I guess that'll do it for now.